Tonight's update exposes the widening gap between diplomatic messaging and operational reality across the Middle East. While officials speak about ceasefires, reconstruction, and stability forces, the facts on the ground point in a very different direction. Military preparations, strategic deception, and ongoing terror across multiple fronts. This is Shield of Truth. We document reality, not narratives. Turkey's defense minister announced full operational readiness to deploy forces into Gaza as part of a so-called stability force. Israel has made its position clear. It does not support Turkish involvement in any force operating in Gaza. At the same time, Ankara declared readiness for any scenario involving Kurdish forces in northern Syria, signaling that Turkey is preparing for simultaneous pressure points, both southward toward Gaza and eastward into Syria. This is not peacekeeping posture, this is regional power positioning. U.S. Secretary of State Rubio outlined the American administration's end-of-year position with unusual clarity. There will be no peace and no reconstruction in Gaza as long as Hamas remains armed. There will be no stability while Hamas continues to pose a threat to Israel. On Lebanon, the U.S. position is equally direct. Israel remains free to act in Lebanon according to its own security interests. This marks a significant moment where U.S. rhetoric aligns with operational reality rather than diplomatic ambiguity. Egypt's head of public diplomacy, Daya Rashwan, publicly rejected reports claiming that President Abdel Fattah el-Sisi plans to meet Prime Minister Netanyahu in the United States. Rashwan called the reports baseless rumors, accusing Netanyahu of attempting to break political isolation through media signaling. He revealed that the high-level meeting in Miami involved the U.S. envoy, Egypt, Turkey, and Qatar, without Israel present, and was focused on preparations for Phase 2 of the Gaza agreement. According to Rashwan, there is no planning, coordination, or intention for a Sisi-Netanyahu meeting at this time. Rashwan also addressed claims that Israel could pressure Egypt through gas exports. He dismissed the argument entirely. Egypt's LNG conversion capacity, he said, is roughly 3 times the volume it imports from Israel. Egypt also maintains alternative gas sources from Saudi Arabia, the UAE, and other suppliers. In short, Israel cannot turn off the lights in Egypt. The leverage narrative does not hold. Rashwan added that since October 7, 2023, Egypt has faced intense pressure to accept Gaza migration schemes. Pressure Cairo has consistently rejected, regardless of economic incentives. Let's break down the actual numbers. Israel's proven natural gas reserves are estimated at roughly 1,000 BCM. The Energy Ministry conservatively recognizes 870 BCM. After all approved exports, including the sale of 130 BCM to Egypt, Israel will still retain approximately 640 BCM. Israel currently consumes about 14 BCM annually, expected to rise to 16 BCM in the coming years. Strategic planning requires Israel to retain 440 BCM for energy independence. Even after exports, Israel exceeds that threshold by 200 BCM. By any realistic calculation, Israel's reserves cover over 30 years of domestic consumption. The state is projected to earn approximately 58 billion shekels from this deal alone over 18 years, while maintaining one of the lowest gas prices in the Western world for Israeli consumers. This is not weakness, this is long-term strategic leverage. Following reports of a suspected abduction of an Israeli woman in Jericho, security forces established overnight roadblocks, while police units entered the city with IDF support to collect evidence. Initial assessments point to a criminal background, but security officials stress that a nationalist motive has not been ruled out. Due to the sensitivity of the case, details remain restricted. The involvement of the Shin Bet underscores the seriousness of the incident. NBC News reports that amid growing concern over Iran's accelerated ballistic missile production, Prime Minister Netanyahu intends to present a new strike plan against Iran during his upcoming meeting with President Trump. Israeli officials are also concerned about renewed uranium enrichment, but assess that missile production and air defense reconstruction represent more immediate threats. Iran is not de-escalating, it is recalibrating. Earlier today, IDF forces from the Jerusalem Brigade identified 2 terrorists crossing the yellow line in northern Gaza, posing an immediate threat. Both were eliminated via airstrike coordination. Meanwhile, Kafir Brigade forces completed 2 months of operations along the yellow line in southern Gaza and have now rotated out, replaced by Brigade 188. During their mission, forces destroyed hundreds of terror infrastructures, including underground tunnels stretching over 2 kilometers, and eliminated approximately 20 terrorists. The ceasefire exists on paper. Operations continue in reality. In Salat al-Harithia, a terrorist threw an explosive device at IDF forces and was eliminated on the spot. In the Manash Brigade area, paratrooper reconnaissance units neutralized 2 terrorists in separate incidents within minutes. No IDF casualties were reported. At the same time, stone-throwing attacks against Jewish motorists in Samaria and Binyamin continue. No terrorists were eliminated. No villages were dismantled. No emergency cabinet convened. This is the gap between declared policy and operational enforcement. From Australia, Gafen Baitan, the Israeli who returned to the scene of the terror attack and helped neutralize the attacker, has exited life-threatening condition. He is communicating with those around him and is scheduled for surgery on Monday. His family asks for prayers for the recovery of Gafen Ben Esther. Saudi Arabia carried out at least 340 executions in 2025, the highest number recorded in decades. 2/3 were linked to drug offenses. Others involved murder and terrorism charges. This marks a new peak in Riyadh's declared war on drugs, raising questions about internal pressure and regime control mechanisms. Across the region, the pattern is consistent. Diplomacy speaks of stability. Reality shows preparation. Hamas remains armed. Iran is repositioning. Turkey is maneuvering. Israel continues operating under the surface of ceasefire language. This is not the end of conflict. This is the next phase. This is Shield of Truth. We document reality, not illusions.